Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sports in the Mitten, powered by Mr. Spots of Ann Arbor. I'm your host, Adam Biggers, Michigan and Michigan State beat writer for FanRagSports.com, and it's Friday, September 22nd. Tomorrow, Michigan travels to Purdue, actually traveling today to face the Boilers. We're going to talk a little bit about the preview of that game. I apologize for the delay. It's a really busy week for myself. My co-host, Thomas Bendit, was really busy doing the lawyer thing as well, so we weren't able to do the preview show Wednesday night. We wanted to do it last night, and that wasn't able to happen. So figured get into the Purdue talk. I want to talk a little bit about Quinn Nordin. I had the opportunity to hang out with Quinn for a little bit yesterday at Coach and Four Barbershop on State Street, right next door to Mr. Spots, and I watched him get his hair cut, out of all things. So I'm gonna open up for questions here. Talk some Michigan State, Notre Dame if you guys want to. I don't think that's Michigan State's never really a topic of interest in here, but I will talk about it at the end of the show. Sean Patterson says he's back. Aha, what's up, Adam? Go Blue. For Masterfuls, yo, Ora82 says nope on the Michigan State talk. Yeah, guys, I wanted to do it I was gonna do it last night by myself, but my shoulder right here has just been killing me, man. I slept like crap. I just icy hotted the hell out of it, and I'm kind of in some pain, and I'm not in a great mood. So I'll try to be talkative. I'll try to keep it like it's like usual, but I do want to keep it short because this thing is bothering the hell out of me. So Forrest Clerico says, "What up, brother? I have a feeling we smoked some boiler this week." Sean Patterson says, "Hope so, Forrest." Ora 82 fall ball. That maybe has something to do with it. I was out a few days ago. I was practicing with the Mott Bears. Want to give a shout out to Coach Roger Christensen, Brownie, of course, Sean Brown, and had a great time. Evan Gates, Jack Mulick, those guys. I had opportunity to interview them. So if you're from the Flint area, if you like junior college baseball, if you like college baseball, check out my page. I interviewed those guys. Mott's going to be good this year. I have a really good feeling. They were a game out of a playoff spot last year. Roger's done a really good job recruiting and kind of changing. He talked with me about changing the culture. So anyway, I went out there for a little practice workout. I'm not able to play in the 40 and up league anymore because work's just getting too hectic. And I don't know if I necessarily probably stretched enough. So that's a good point, Ora82. Thank you. Ryan Fields wants to know, will the O-line be any better? For Masterfuls is coming with his prediction. Guys, I'll get to all these questions. Ryan, I'll answer your question about the O-line. LC _ 313. Do you think DPJ will start in place of Black or play the slot, and how long is Black out for? LC, real quick, I answered that. He just had surgery. I think I'd be surprised if we saw Tariq back this year. I really would. DPJ was already going to get a lot of the load. He was already in that starting group. I expect to see a little bit more of Eddie McDoom. So I want to start off today's discussion. We could break down the stats by some numbers. I mean, Purdue's got a few guys I feel like you should watch for, but what I'm really interested in is this coaching matchup. And for those who don't know, Jeff Brohm came from Western Kentucky, which is a program that Jim Harbaugh's father, Jack, basically revived. Western Kentucky was in serious financial trouble. I mean, basically the Hilltoppers almost lost their football program. It was in like 91 or 92. So it was about 25 years ago, 26 years ago, and Western Kentucky was in danger of losing its football program. Jack Harbaugh is credited. Jeff Brohm called Jack a legend. And where this ties in, Jeff knows Jack a little bit. He just met Jim over the summer. And I posted a piece. It's running on FanRag Sports today, so I don't want to spoil it all. Be sure to read that on FanRagSports.com. Follow FanRag on Twitter at FanRag_U and at FanRag Sports. And basically, there is a connection. There's a lot of respect between these two coaches. Even though they've only met each other one time, Jeff Brohm respects Jack Harbaugh. He knows where Jim Harbaugh comes from, and therefore, that it's kind of it's a respect thing. It really is. I know all the coaches will be sportsmen and say, we respect the other team. They're going to play hard. I had the opportunity to talk to Jeff Brohm on the phone for about 10 minutes. I do want to thank Purdue's SID, Matthew Rector, for setting that up. Great conversation with Jeff. Jeff's paid attention to Jim throughout his playing career, his coaching career, and vice versa. Jim had a lot of complimentary things to say about Jeff's job at Western Kentucky. And it's just, I really do believe it's one of these matches where the coaching should really be kind of a main story, because Jeff Brohm being a newcomer to the Big Ten, Harbaugh tabbed him as an early Coach of the Year candidate. He said so on Monday during the press conference. So I really do think that that's something to watch for, because these two coaches respect the hell out of each other. And when you have that level of respect, I think that we see that on the field in terms of the way the players play. So I will start with some questions. Ryan Fields, will the O-line be any better? Well, it better. The right side, I've been saying this for a long time, since the beginning of the season. The right side just has not gotten it together. Patrick Kugler's been pretty good. Mason Cole's been pretty good. Ben Bredeson's been pretty good. We've seen moments from Mike Onwenu. We've seen moments from Nolan Aluzio. I'm not, I don't like to single out guys and bash them, but I think if it's constructive criticism, they're, all for it. And Nolan Aluzio and Mike Onwenu, and I'll say particularly Nolan, has to get it together right now. And I've said this before as well. I thought that it was going to be John Runyon Jr. or Jawan Bushell-Beatty. I thought that was a no-brainer. I really didn't give much thought to Nolan being the starting right tackle until the end of camp, when we kind of started hearing a little bit of peeps about Nolan, and it was surprising to me. And to see him named the starting right tackle, obviously he did enough in camp and improved himself. He outperformed Juwan and John, but I have to believe that if there's one key position, at least now that we're going into week 4, as far as a starter's concerned, we're not going to see a switch at quarterback. We're not going to see any switches anywhere else, I imagine. But I think if there is a position that we do see a switch at, we might see a little bit more of John Runyon at right tackle. That's just my guess, educated guess. Now going back to the Tariq Black question, yes, Tariq just had foot surgery. It was a broken foot. Jim Harbaugh said Tariq had a crack in his foot. I don't expect Tariq back. I really don't. Maybe for the bowl game, but I think that might even be pushing it. There is good news, though, in terms of injury. Grant Newsome tweeted yesterday a GIF, or a GIF, however, I think you call it a GIF, right? I don't know. GIF, whatever. That something about that feeling when you come out of the doctor's office. Good news. Grant might be back for the bowl game, and I'm imagining if Grant returns, then that's a major plus for the Wolverines' offensive line. So, For Masterfuls wants to know any relation to Brian Brohm, the former standout QB at Louisville. For Masterfuls, Jeff actually played quarterback at Louisville. I'm not sure if there's any relation to Brian, or maybe if you're confusing names, but Jeff played at Louisville from 89 to 93. He actually faced Jack Harbaugh's Western Kentucky team in 1990, and Louisville won. It was like 41-7 or something like that. I asked Jeff if he remembered that game. He said that he believes that he got in there late because he wasn't the starter at that time, but he didn't really remember a whole lot of details about it, because it was almost 30 years ago. So Sean Patterson wants to know, how long did it take for Harbaugh to get Stanford's offensive line dominant? That program was built on that line. I don't feel like it's been the same yet. Sean, I can't give you a definitive answer on that. I didn't cover Stanford back then. But, I mean, a coach like Jim Harbaugh, old school coach, you have to have strong line, both sides. You have to have strong quarterback play. So I don't see Michigan's offensive line as a major issue yet. And I think I wanted to wait until the Wolverines got into conference play before I started saying, okay, this is going to be a major issue. This is not going to be a major issue. We already know the defense isn't an issue. But the right side of the offensive line, and obviously a little bit of rhythm and flow from Wilton Spate at the quarterback spot is what Michigan needs. Pablo Donald wants to know what's going on with Jawan Bushell-Beatty. I don't know what you mean by that, Pablo. Can you be more specific? Mike Sobrowski says, great timing, Adam. I'm on my lunch break. Hey, thanks, Mike. Like I said earlier, I wanted to do one Wednesday. My co-host, Wednesday night, the preview show, my co-host Thomas Bendit was busy. He's a lawyer by day. I was going to do one last night, but I mentioned at the top of the show, for the past couple days, I started getting the soreness. And then last night, it just kind of hit me. And then this morning, it really hit me. Like, I could barely kind of move my neck around a little bit. I feel like I'm walking with a hunch in my back. For Masterful says Brian Brohm played in the early 2000s under Bobby Petrino. That name sounds familiar. I can't tell you, For Masterfuls. If you want to Google it and let us know, that's a cool little stat. Tim Beck, graphics interface format. Yeah, GIF, right? Or GIF, because we don't say graph. What was that? Wasn't it on The Office that they were debating that? They said, well, you don't say graph with a G, it's GIF. Pablo O'Donnell says, I thought he was slated to start right tackle. I don't think he has seen the field. Well, Pablo, that was a guess, that I had back in the summer and back in the spring. Juwan seemed like the logical pick. A lot of other people were saying that. Tim Drevno, I remember asking Tim Drevno, the offensive coordinator, about the right tackle position, and he specifically mentioned John and Juwan. I don't know if there's anything going on with him other than that Nolan just outperformed him and Nolan outperformed John and won the starting job. So, For Masterful says, I like the praise of the defense. Has just been a tad bit overstated. I only say that because DBs haven't really faced a QB wide receiver core to test us. This will be a real challenge. And that's a great comment for Masterfuls. And on that note, too, Purdue likes to use tight ends. And I thought this was an important stat to point out because Michigan only had 200-yard receivers. One of them, Tariq Black, long-term injury. Like I said, I don't expect him back for the rest of the year. And then Grant Perry. You look at Purdue. Purdue has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. 2 of them are tight ends. And I want to bring some attention to Cole Herdman and Bryson Hopkins because I think that those guys have combined for like 16 receptions, 341 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And I think Khalid Hudson's going to be busy with the tight ends. I imagine he's a guy that's on them. I think that the linebackers are going to be busy. This is going to, for Masterfuls, you're right, this is going to be a big test for the Wolverines. It's a true road game. Purdue, Brown told me that, and they played Louisville, and they stopped Missouri. Excuse me, they lost to Louisville, but they hung with them. And Brown said that they haven't faced a team of Michigan's caliber to this point. He called Harbaugh a big daddy of the coaching world. Michigan's a big daddy of college football. So, what's going on in the run game? Didn't see that much of Evans last game. LC_313 wants to know. Ty Isaac's been really good, right? It's not. I think I got this question before about Chris Evans. It's not. And Chris got a couple carries at the end of the game. Yeah, he had a nice carry at the end of the game. I want to say it was about an 8 to 11 yarder. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was to the right side, which bodes well for the running game because they haven't really been able to get anything on the right side. But nothing going on with Chris. Nothing going on. Karan's playing well. It's just Ty Isaac has been the guy. And Jim Harbaugh, I said this a couple weeks ago. Jim Harbaugh has said the same thing. Why wouldn't you go with a guy who has a hot hand? So, Forrest Clerico says, it seems like no national media is noticing our defense. I disagree, Forrest. I think that's the talk when national people talk about Michigan football. That's the talk. LC4_313 says, okay, he thought he was injured. Yeah, no, I can't confirm Juwan's injured. It's just Nolan beat him for the job. For Masterful says, and they also pass to their running backs a lot using tunnel screens, which gained us a bit. And yeah, speaking of Purdue running backs, they've been pretty decent on the ground, but it's all Terrio Fuller. 43 carries for 261 yards. He averages 6.1 per touch. He scored 2 touchdowns, so he's definitely a guy that Michigan's going to have to pay attention to because, let me see off the top of my head, I don't think they've really faced a really good running back yet. And Florida's best running back wasn't playing the game, Jordan Scarlett. So Michigan, yeah, that's a good point as well for Masterfuls. That's going to be a call. I'm going to turn this into, it's called the Four Masterfuls Show. Machine Unit, do you think our tight ends are going to see more looks in the red zone this game? I expect expanded red zone play calling. I expect expanded offensive play calling in general. I expect the tight ends. I've been saying this for a couple weeks. I expect to see more from the tight ends. We've seen really good tight end play from Sean McCune so far as a blocking tight end, but I think that it would benefit the Wolverines to get Sean more involved in the passing game. Get Zach Gentry, and you think of Zach Gentry in the red zone, he's 6'7", and the jump ball possibilities. Not a lot of guys are going to be able to jump with Zach. So, yeah, I do expect to see a little bit more tight end use. I do expect to see a little bit different red zone play calling, which is the majority of those play calls are Pep and Tim Drevno. Jim Harbaugh does kind of oversee and have some say in it as the head coach, but the brunt of the play calling, offensive play calling, is on Tim and Pep. Eric with a Y 313 says, after watching film from Chris Evans and Higdon, need to take most of the carries this week. Purdue linebackers are way too big and slow for our speed backs. For Masterfuls, how's Metellus doing? I remember him limping off the field late in the game. As far as I know, Josh is fine. I actually saw him walking down the street yesterday while I was at Mr. Spots. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's an injury report or anything, but I mean, he was walking down the street like normal. So, I'm assuming he's fine. Machine Unit says, Gentry seems to be our biggest potential weapon. I mean, I like at tight end. Yeah, I could see that because of that athletic option. But I really like Sean McCune. Oh, Raw 82. Did John Runyon move to right guard last game? I can't read today. I didn't notice that actually. I actually missed Karan's carry too because with about 4 minutes to go in the game, I hit the elevator so I could get a good spot in the press box. The game was already won, so yeah, I actually scooted out a little bit earlier. I think John got in at right tackle, though, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe right guard. Zachary Hamden says, Michigan will work Purdue. I think they'll get it right. Sure Woody 14 wants to know, is there any chance we've been holding anything back for Big Ten Conference play? I noticed some of the crossing plays that worked last year are being read and tackled immediately. Sure Woody 14, yeah, I expect expanded offensive play calling. I expect to see more from the defense, too. I remember asking Rashawn Gary this week, how much of the defense we've seen, and he kind of laughed. He said the defense hasn't even opened up yet. And Don Brown said something similar Wednesday. Mike Zabrowski says, I like Eubanks getting in there a bit more. Why has Wheatley been up, by the way? I know we haven't been throwing to tight ends, but he was highly praised this fall camp. I just think that the easy answer for me, Mike, would be I just think that Tyrone has been outplayed. I mean, he's in there a little bit, but I think McCune and Zach Gentry have kind of separated themselves as the tight ends. So, Eric 313 more likely to see the field this week. Oliver Martin or Nico Collins. Over who? It's Eddie McDoom, I think, is going to be the guy taking over for Tariq Black. I know everybody wants to throw in these freshmen and everything, and the recruiting hype and everything. Don't forget about Eddie McDoom. I think Eddie's going to slide in there for Tariq. I did see Oliver warm up though before the Air Force game. So Jim Harbaugh said a couple weeks ago that Oliver had upper extremity injury, and I did see Oliver catch a ball. So. For Masterfuls, no more jet sweeps to McDoom. If we truly have been holding things back, then this game should be time to show some stuff. It might be some little bubble. I mean, Eddie's good in space. I'm kind of excited to see what Eddie adds to this offense. Because, I mean, if you look at Tariq and Donovan, Tariq's, more of the bigger body, downfield threat, but I think that Donovan can do some similar things to that. Maybe not quite as physical, but I think that Eddie's going to add a little bit of this offense lacks a lot of boom, and I was waiting for that. I thought with Pep Hamilton, I didn't necessarily think we're going to see like a lot of flash bells and whistles, but a little bit of that. I guess word pizzazz, and I don't even like that word. Somebody help me out with a word there, but I think you know what I mean. Is there any concern with McDoom? Machine Unit wants to know, is there any concern with McDoom's pass catching ability? Isn't that why he's always on the sweep screen? No, I think he's on sweep screen because he's really fast. Up until Donovan came, I think Eddie was the fastest wide receiver. Mike Zabrowski says, I like Shanley, or however you spell his name. He has done very well on special teams. Yeah, I expect Nate. I thought that Nate was going to be, like when we talked about the wide receiver group, a set kind of top 4 and then top 4 or 5. Then I thought that Nate was going to be one of those guys, 6, 7, 8. I'm actually kind of surprised that we haven't seen him get some more reps at wide receiver, special teams right now, just because of how much people talked about him during camp. But again, I don't think that we've seen everything. I don't think we've seen every one, guys. This is week 4. Now is the time, though. Starting right now is the time when we're going to start seeing the whole bag of tricks. We're going to start seeing, the majority of guys who are going to play this year. Sherwoody says explosiveness rather than pizzazz. Thank you, Sherwoody14. Yes, explosiveness. LC4_313 says, I think this Purdue game is a sleeper game for Michigan because 1, it's away, 2, Purdue is off to a good start, and 3, we're young. What's your thoughts? Yeah, Michigan better stand on guard. This isn't going to be a cakewalk. I mean, and with David Bluff, they've yet to face a quarterback like David Bluff. David Bluff, real quick, I'll bring up his stats. He's completing 76.1% of his passes. 51 for 67. He's averaging 8.91 yards per attempt, 6 touchdowns, and 2 picks. So if you want to talk about a guy who's going to sling the ball around a little bit, and consider this too, Air Force only tried to throw the ball 9 times. Arian Worthman 1 for 7. They had that big 63-yard touchdown connection. Nate Romine was 0 for 2. Nate was the former starter before Arian won the job. Nate was injured. But yeah, you're going from a team that attempted 9 passes and ran 49 times to a team like Purdue that's probably going to throw the ball, I'm guessing, 25 to 30 times. I think we're going to see more balance. I mean, like I mentioned, I like Tariel Fuller as a running back, but David Bluff, I think, is going to be a huge test. And if we want to talk about the secondary, I think that Lavert Hills played well. I think that David Long and Brandon Watson have played well at corner. That Ambry Thomas has gotten in there. I think that this is going to be one of those test games for the secondary because we're looking at right now David Bluff, possibly the best quarterback in the Big Ten, at least statistically speaking. ORA82 says Waze hasn't been a fact. Yeah, I'm surprised. I've been waiting a couple years for Maurice. I mean, he's a great blocker. Marcel Woods wants to know, what player do I see having a big game tomorrow? I think tomorrow is defensively is gonna be a big game for Kalik and Devin. Offensively, I think that it could be a real big game for Donovan Peoples-Jones, assuming that he and Spate in the passing game, offensive line. This is going to be a major game just to see. Okay, we've waited for 3 weeks to see what this pass offense is going to do, and frankly, I'm kind of tired of waiting. I mean, I saw last year through the first 9 games of the season, I saw a really good quarterback in Wilton Spate. I'm waiting for Wilton to even get to that level that he was last year, even at week 4 or 5, and he turned it up a little bit before he got injured. I'm expecting, if it's going to happen, if there's going to be a wake-up call, I think it has to be this week for Wilton, and I think that with Donovan, that could be a kind of potential breakout connection right there. Ora82 wants to know, can we talk about how Louisville put up 500 total yards of offense on Purdue, and Purdue hasn't played a team with a pulse? Well, I mean, Louisville has a pulse, right? I mean, I think Louisville may have been slightly overrated a little bit, but I mean they hung with Louisville. What was the score? I mean, they lost. It was a 35-28 game, so I mean they didn't get blown out. It was the first game of the season for Purdue. It was at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Not too far away from Purdue, but a neutral site game nonetheless. Dale Terry. Dale, I'm not even going to read that. Alright, fine, I will, just for the hell of it. Dale Terry says, Peters, bring him off the clipboard. Chris Hack says, Biggers. Hey, Chris, how's it going? I will say this. Yesterday, Quinn Nordin told me that Brandon Peters could probably play basketball at Michigan. And I quote Quinn. He said Brandon yucks the ball off the backboard, 360 windmill. No problem. Quinn can dunk. A lot of those guys can dunk. But Brandon Peters throwing 360 windmill dunks off the backboard. For Masterful says, don't do it. I had to. Why not? You guys already know what I think. Dale, you know what I think. Mike Zabrowski says, the way we pursue and fly to the ball, I don't see them, 1, having much time to throw in the pocket. 2, if they dump off quick throws, we get there fast and make plays. Defense is way faster this year. And that's why I think, Mike, that Devin and Kalik are going to be real big in this because defensive line pressure. Maybe Bluff doesn't have a lot of time to throw the ball. We know that Michigan has an elite defensive line. So, yeah, that could definitely factor in. So, what's the next step? Dump it off. Well, Mike McCray looked pretty good last week. I mean, side to side, guys, with the linebackers have looked pretty good, and with the Viper. So, yeah, I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be a big game for Devin. I think it's going to be a big game for Cleek Hudson. Chris Hawk, what did I miss? Quick recap. Ooh, where to start? Would one of you guys mind, Chris? I've talked. It's 25 minutes in, man. I don't want to have to go over everything. Talked about Purdue. Talked about there's a lot of respect between Jim Harbaugh and Jeff Brohm. I have a piece on FanRag Sports posting today, so don't forget to read that. That's on Twitter at @FanRag_U and at FanRag Sports at FanRagSports.com. Talked about Quinn Nordin. Oh, well, I haven't gotten into Quinn yet, so this is fresh for you, Chris. Yeah, in comments. You can scroll through the comments. I'll talk about Quinn, guys. So Quinn gave me kind of the backstory on the Wild Thing haircut. Major League is his favorite movie, he told me. His dad actually played baseball at Central Michigan. Quinn never played baseball, but you know he kind of grew up with an appreciation for all sports, all things athletic. So he did swam. He played soccer when he was a little kid, but he swam in middle school. I think he said he stopped doing that in 8th grade. He played a little bit of basketball through middle school. He played lacrosse. He could have played Division I lacrosse. But basically, I watched Jimmy the Barber at Coach and 4 right next door to Mr. Spots on State Street give Quinn his weekly trim. I posted the photos on Twitter yesterday. And Quinn, they played Major League just for him. Everybody, the people in the shop were waiting for him. They had a couple customers, and they overheard the conversation. So Quinn just walks in a bucket hat, a jean jacket, and it was like 90 degrees. He's wearing a jean jacket and some just gray sweatpants and some flip flops. And basically, I just kind of stood there and watched Jimmy the Barber, who I guess is a local Ann Arbor legend when it comes to haircuts. Coach and 4's cut everybody's hair. Bo Schembechler, Red Berenson, John Beeline's been in there, Greg Madison. I mean, this is a historic kind of barbershop, I guess. Kind of has really tight connection to Michigan athletics, which a lot of the places around there do, but with it being a barbershop. So anyway, watched Jimmy kind of cut the little triangle shapes on the side of Quinn's, on the back of his neck rather. I took some photos, wrote a story, and they're basically, the guys in camp, they do something, they'll shave their beard or something. The Glasgows have done things to their hair. Quinn wanted to do something during camp, just for fun, and it kind of stuck. And he's taken and ran with it. I told him now he's making the Wild Thing haircut. He's kind of taking it away from Charlie Sheen and Ricky Vaughn. And now it's Quinn's haircut. And he laughed. He said no, but he would not mind, like a retweet or something from Charlie Sheen. So I think I might actually tweet those photos at Charlie Sheen. Anyway, not journalism, not reporting, but I thought that it was kind of fun to do. Everybody's talking about the haircut, and I wanted to get a glimpse at Quinn Nordin's personality, and the haircut fits. It just does. It's him. I don't think it's a gimmick. I don't think it's anything looking for attention. It fits his personality. People have noticed it. He's played extremely well. He's the Big Ten leading scorer with 42 points. He's 11 of 13 from field goal range, 9 for 9 extra points, and he's having a lot of fun with this. But he said he doesn't mind the attention. All he wants to do is help his team win games, and he's definitely doing that. So, Wes Weber, Amazon Jumpman recruiting graphics hype videos. We could get into that, Wes, at the very end, guys, because we're going on 30 minutes. I am going to keep it short. I am going to keep this one short. My shoulder, and my neck right now are just killing me. It hurts. It actually kind of hurts to talk for some reason. It's weird. Eric313 says Purdue had a 36% completion on third down against an Ohio defense at home. What do you think Michigan is going to do to them? Mike Sobrowski took my answer and said, great point. I know there are stats guys pointing toward in favor of Michigan. I do think Michigan wins this game. I'll give you my prediction right now. I think that Michigan wins this game 31-24. I do think that and this is these are the most points that I've predicted against Michigan all year. Whether I'm right or wrong, I expect this to be a pretty close game. I really do. I really do. And I know that people want to point to stats, and I don't know if it's like Michigan fans trying to, kind of calm themselves down. But I mean, this is a game Michigan could lose. I don't think Michigan will lose it, but I think 31-24. For Masterful says 31 is pretty lofty. I know with this offense that I'm thinking that for a couple reasons: expanded offense, improved red zone play calling, Michigan finally getting some rhythm in its passing game. I think maybe I'm expecting a lot from Michigan. But if we just want to go, without predicting I guess a concrete score, I mean 31-24. I think it'll be a touchdown game. If you want to call it, 28-21, 28-20, something in that range. That's probably fair too. But for some reason, 31-24 kind of sticks with me. So, overall 82. Yes, I know 24 points on the defense. I know it's the most points I've predicted all year against Michigan's defense. I do think that Purdue is capable of doing something on offense. I do. Machine Unit says screens and rub routes can exploit our aggressive defense. Four Masterfuls can say I can sadly see us turning the ball over that kills some good drives. Hey guys, I don't want to toot my own horn, but have I not been pretty pretty accurate? And for those who have read my Michigan stuff, during the past 5-6 years, I'm pretty accurate. I don't keep track, but I mean I do remember. I should have like an accuracy rating to see what I am every week. I mean last week I said 28-13 Michigan over Air Force. It was 29-13. What did I say for Florida? I know it was really close on that. Like I said, I don't write them down. I have to go back and look at my tweets or in my articles, but I think 31-24 isn't crazy. Marcel Woods says I'm thinking 31-17. Mike Sobrowski says 42-20. It's time we score some touchdowns. And guys, I will say this: when I was on that call with Jeff Brohm, he said, he's going to have to get creative. I don't think it's going to be Purdue trying to go out there pound for pound and push with these guys. Brohm does realize he's going to have to get creative. He's a former quarterback, so I imagine that'll, he knows how to see the field, read defenses, that sort of thing. I think that this is going to be a difficult game for the Wolverines. And Brohm said, going in the second half especially, if this is a close game, it's something to where he feels like maybe he can get creative, a little more creative on offense. Ford Masterful says, keep track of this. I had 28-14 last game. I'm going with 23-20 Michigan this week. Chris Hawk says, I don't think so. The defense is coming to play Purdue hard. One offensive touchdown, a couple field goals, red zone improved. I'm saying 42-13. You're wrong on this one severely, says Steve Gregorio. We're winning 38-13. Both sides of the ball or both sides of book are going to get opened up. I do think both sides of playbook will get opened up, Steve. But I think the Purdue. I think don't undersell Purdue, guys. I mean this is a decent team. Wes Weber said, did you see today's ESPN feature on Michigan's offensive problems? Two guards pulling in opposite directions, lots of confusion. I did not see that, Wes, but that's something that I think you and I have talked about this year so far. Ford Masterful says, whoa, 42. Yeah, Chris, that's Michigan's offense really amping it up. But like I said, if this is a week where it's going to happen, I feel like this has got to be the week, and that's why I say 31. And I know with 24 points against Michigan's defense, maybe I am overstretching a little bit, but I do want to give Purdue some credit. I think the Purdue's passing game, I like David Bluff. And again, Cole Herdman, Bryson Hopkins at tight end. Let me just go down the list here. Jackson Anthrop, Anthony Mahogany, Gregory Phillips. I mean, they have some weapons. Guys, like I mentioned, there are 5 receivers in just passing touchdowns right here. 3, 7, 8, looks like. 8 passing touchdowns between those guys. Their backup quarterback has thrown 4 passing touchdowns, Elijah Sindelar. Have you predicted the Michigan State Notre Dame game? No, I have not yet, Mike. I think that this is a game. I'm kind of torn on this. Is Michigan State for real? And I know just playing Western and Bowling Green doesn't show a whole lot. I like what I've seen out of Brian Lewerke so far. Michigan State, LJ Scott, Gerald Holmes have to get their games together a little bit. And Michigan State still statistically has been good rushing the ball, but their game, I do think that this is a close one. I'm leaning toward Notre Dame on this. I really am. I think this is going to be a 24-21 game, 24-20, something like that. I'm slightly leaning toward Notre Dame right now. For Masterfuls, I think our offense can be our best defense. Run the ball and run the clock to keep their offense on the sideline. And for Masterfuls, that's something that Brohm mentioned. He mentioned that Michigan's offense can kind of control the ball a little bit, which he didn't mention the clock management, but I'm sure that's where he was going with that as well. If that's one thing the offense has done, we could talk about that. The offense hasn't been explosive, really, other than a few Ty Isaac runs, and we've seen some big plays here and there, but managing it just possession wise against Purdue will be important. Iowa versus Penn State. Penn State's good. Penn State is for real. Wes Weber wants to know where we can listen to the Brohm interview. I recorded it just on my computer, Wes. Jeff had called me. I think they had just finished practice, or he was headed to practice, and Purdue called me. It was Wednesday, and I talked to him for about 8 minutes. So it's actually on my computer. But you'll be able to read. What the main, pretty much a lot of what I've said, like, because I have a column posting on the Harbaugh Brohm kind of respect factor today on FanRag Sports. So give that a read. Forrest Clerico says West 247. No, that they don't have that. That was me. Fort Masterful says Wilton play action passes are his best throws. If he can run well, he can hit some big plays. Sure Woody 14 says I think MSU was a bit lucky. The Western was coming off big game at USC and didn't have enough left. Notre Dame in that game, but close. Yeah, and I thought Western Michigan looked pretty good at times. I mean, you could see, and I thought that was going to be a challenging game for Brian Lewerke because you could see what Phillips and Beal were able to do. Sam Darnold didn't go wild on those guys. He didn't even throw a touchdown pass. And I think he was like 22 or 33 for 289 yards, so a good stat line. But he didn't rip those guys apart by any stretch, at least Western secondary. So yeah, I do think that this will be a close game. Like I said, 24-21, 24-20, something like that. I'm not sold on Michigan State yet. I know there are people right now that want to start up the chatter. Is Michigan State better than what we expected? I can't say that yet because I want to see the Spartans play Notre Dame, and I'll actually be there this weekend, guys, covering that game in East Lansing. Chris Hawk says, guys, Michigan has had some struggles, but over 3 games, a couple touchdowns from Michigan have been called back, destroying momentum. The mistakes are getting less and less. That's another great point, Chris. Look, even against Florida that won for Kakoa, Ty Isaac, I think he did step out. I didn't see the replay. But, yeah, there have been a couple. Bob Johnson says, I might have missed it, but is Kareem Walker healthy? Bob, Jim Harbaugh says Kareem Walker has a knee injury, right knee. This isn't Drew Brees we're facing, says ORA82. No, but it is David Bluff. David Bluff has been good, guys. And look at his numbers from last year, too, his efficiency numbers. Purdue wasn't good, but David was. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the show today because we are going on 40 minutes. I do have a couple things that I need to get taken care of today. I want to thank everybody for watching the live stream here on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends, spread the word. You can find the audio-only versions on iTunes, Google Play, and on the FanRag Sports Blog Talk Radio channel. I'll have Michigan content this weekend. Again, I have this Brohm Harbaugh feature coming up. I really liked writing this. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys read it. I put a lot of effort into it trying to track trying to get Brohm, and it was I liked it. I liked the way it turned out. Read that Quinn Nordin piece too as well. I had a lot of fun writing that. It's not every day you get to sit around and watch somebody get a Wild Thing haircut, let alone Michigan's kind of one of the. Isn't it weird to talk about Quinn Nordin, a kicker, is one of Michigan's most popular players right now? It's this whole Wild Thing is just taking on a life of its own. So it was kind of cool to get a glimpse at it, how it happens, I guess. And I want to thank Jimmy the Barber and Coach and Four and Jerry Erickson and those guys for letting me set up shop yesterday. And again, as always, want to thank Tim and Keith at Mr. Spots, 808 State Street in Ann Arbor, keeping me fed during football season. If you get a chance, go down there, grab a sandwich. I give away food. I might even though Michigan's on the road, I might give away a free sandwich this weekend. So pay attention to my Twitter at AdamBiggers81 for the trivia question. I will give away free food for all of the home games this season. So thanks again. These noon times work great. Lunch break, says Wes. I'll try to do Fridays at noon, guys. Thanks for watching, Wes. Thanks for watching ORA82. Chris Hawk says, catch you later, Biggers. Go Blue. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. For Masterful says, thanks again, bro. You're a real one. Appreciate it, For Masterfuls. Mike Sobrowski says, go Blue as always, Adam. Great show. Hey, guys, the show is what you guys make it. I really appreciate all the regular viewers. You guys know who you are. Mike, Wes, For Masterfuls. Elite Demons in here sometimes. Justin Green, we didn't see Justin today. I think ORA82, maybe you've been in here once, but I try to pay attention who are the regular guys and watching it. And like I said, I want to make it more like a conversation, not really me just talking at you. It's talking with you. So I have a lot of fun. I love talking about football, and obviously I love what I do. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Purdue-Michigan game. Enjoy the Michigan State-Notre Dame game. Enjoy whatever game you're watching. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow the podcast at Mitten Sports MI. Find us on Facebook. Just search Sports in the Mitten. Same deal with iTunes. Just search Sports in the Mitten or SITM. It's listed under both. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys. I'll probably do one Sunday morning. So I'll talk to you guys Sunday morning. Have a good weekend.